Action. Welcome to our podcast / video cast. It's our first one, isn't it?
Yeah, very first one.
Count yourself one of the lucky few watching this and listening.
So real quick, we're going to give you a rundown of who we are. My name is Luke Frazier.
I'm Axel.
I'm Mark Frazier, his brother.
Twin brother. And I'm Corey Allred. And we are amateur filmmakers.
Yes. Very
filmmakers.
Amateur. Yeah.
Filmmakers.
Filmmakers. Filmmakers, musicians.
Wannabe filmmakers.
Mm-hmm.
We all graduated from Sacramento State together with degrees in film production. And we're working on small projects. We're working full-time. We're just trying to get our foot in the door in the business. And we just want to talk about movies, film, anything that comes up during the news. We just want to rant and talk, and this is a little bit of a test, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We just thought a podcast would be kind of a cool way to kind of get things out there. We're always talking about things and throwing ideas out and questioning things, so we thought, well, maybe we can reach out to an audience.
We think we have decent ideas that maybe someone can relate to.
I mean, we're good-looking guys, right?
Right.
Now, let's talk about some
cinema. No?
Well, what's the projects that we've done? Let's tell them a little what we've done.
Oh, yeah, what have we done? Well, last year, approximately January 2014, on the 3rd of that date, we moved to Mississippi for approximately 4 months and planned and filmed a Civil War short film, and then moved back here to Sacramento, Roseville area, got jobs, and editing it, and...
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
So it was.
Sure.
So experience like that, you know, we had literally no idea what we were doing. We did absolutely everything we could possibly wrong. And, but, you know, that's how you learn, you know. We went out there, did everything we possibly could, and, well, hey.
So the project was, it was called Another Civil War Story, and it is about a journalist and one of his good friends. He was a sketch artist, and they're sitting on this ridge, and they're looking over a Civil War battlefield and this battle going on. And we wrote this film in about 2 months. You know, it's about a 20-minute short film. And we had the plan to go out and film this in one weekend. And that's where the amateur status comes in, because we didn't have a lot of...
Yeah, basically what we did was we came in on this project and we didn't really know what we were doing. Like, we went down to Mississippi with an unfinished script. And we started writing a feature film, and that was the biggest problem. Was we thought we did like 2 crowdfunding campaigns. We did a Kickstarter, and then we did an Indiegogo. We were trying to raise $20,000 the first time, and then $10,000 the second time, thinking that we would be able to make a feature-length film, Civil War like period piece film, on like a $10,000 to $20,000 budget, which shows that was the first sign that we should have noticed it was naive. Yeah. So we were down there, and we spent, like Axel said, about 2 months, or Luke, about 2 months writing it,
right.
And then we suddenly hit a wall, and we realized, you know, we won't even be able to film this.
Right.
So like, well, let's just wind it down to a short film, and we still didn't know how to write a short film, really. Like we didn't know about kind of character goals and motivations, and
the sad thing is that we graduated from film school. That's in quotations if you're listening, and it is a smaller school, Sacramento State, not necessarily known for its film school, but it's just. One of the things we probably could talk about for a whole hour is film school versus going out and making a film and the differences between the two.
We were ill prepared, and our eyes, I think, were way too big for our stomach.
Yeah. When
it came to actual, what's the word? Getting out there and doing it. You know, execution. Thank you. That's where we suffered.
Part of me, like, I don't know, is kind of a failure as it was. Like, we still did it. We actually had a plan and goal to go out there and film a little Civil War period piece, and we did. It didn't turn out at all the way we were hoping it would, and all the things that came up, you know, kind of hindered us. But what was good was that we actually, and I think this was the Frazier's idea, was to write letters, and this is kind of something that, I don't know, we sort of did, was we wrote a bunch of letters to a bunch of different companies for equipment, for resources, you know, any sort of resource we needed, whether it was like a C-stand or a camera or a lens or anything that we could make, even if it was like thousands of dollars worth of equipment, we just wrote. And we sent out probably like 40 letters total. I mean, we sent a bunch out.
Not just emails,
actual letters.
Handwritten letters.
And we only got like maybe 3 responses. And the responses were overwhelming. The ones that we did get back were very
supportive.
Not like small end company, high end companies like Red Rock Micro,
Yeah.
Zacuto, Matthews Studio Equipment.
Yeah, and they responded when they were enthusiastic, and they actually sent us some equipment
Just free.
for our shoot.
Just
free
they
of charge.
shipped it.
Just because
and
we
like,
wrote them
hey,
a letter and said,
we
"Hey,
got some
listen."
C stands. We got shoulder rigs. We got viewfinders from Zacuto.
Got to borrow an Apple computer, brand new.
Yeah, we wrote
Yeah.
with Apple. Luke had like a conference call with Apple.
Yeah.
And
Just for literally just going out and asking for some help,
yeah,
you know, and not just like a random email that they can easily delete, you know, but an actual physical letter that we had a picture.
yeah.
We added a little photo in every letter that we sent out.
Yeah.
Um,
And, yeah, I mean, that was. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, kind of going off what Luke was saying a little earlier about the prospect of going to film school or going out and make your own film. I guess we eventually did both, and we're still not done going out and making our own films, hopefully. But I mean, I think it goes to show that you learn by doing. Nothing against film school. We did learn a lot.
Yeah,
But there's no way you could ever. It's almost not fair to compare or to say that you didn't learn enough in film school, because honestly, there's only so much you can, and you go out and you learn by doing. You learn by making mistakes. That was the biggest thing I took away from that.
yeah. Do we want to go and talk about some of the mistakes we may have
Yeah.
learned, so some other people can possibly, if we get some amateur filmmakers out of film school,
yeah,
about to make a short film, some of the mistakes we learned, I mean, we learned the hard way, and hopefully maybe you guys can learn through this podcast or video, whatever you guys are watching, and learn from that.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the big things is we went out there on we planned to shoot on a Saturday and a Sunday, 10 pages of script each day. I don't know what we were thinking, because I believe an average on a average film set, I think 3 to 4 pages is actually very good, and we were rushing our asses off, and we didn't spend the time that we needed to for the shots. And
It got to the point where we basically had 3 cameras rolling simultaneously.
Yeah.
And instead of focusing on one shot and making that one shot look precise and solid, we had 3 people running around with shoulder rigs trying to get these shots out of the way so we can go to the next scene.
It's because we knew we were going to have everyone there after that. We had this weekend, like all the reenactors, all the actors, all of our crew, equipment. It was all locked into this one weekend. Everything was kind of funneled to this one weekend.
Yeah.
And after that, it's all gone. So you have to get it out of the way.
Yeah, so the main thing is we didn't give ourselves enough time. And I wish we had 4 or 5 more days filming.
Yeah.
On top of that, on our first day of filming, we were supposed to have around like 40 to 50 reenactors show up. And
we got maybe
Which
7.
which is crazy to even
yeah,
think
I
about.
mean,
we thought.
we got a call the day before on 2 different groups saying, oh, a group from Arkansas, 10 guys, oh, we're not going to be able to make it. You know, the day before, 10 guys, especially when you're only having about 30, 40 reenactors show up for our main battle scene.
Yeah.
Those guys didn't even show up.
Which is
And
another thing to think that we were even going to film a battle scene.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I think we were going to have time to film a battle scene
yeah.
in like an hour, and
Exactly.
still film the rest of the film in 2.
True.
Like,
So maybe that's like a blessing in disguise,
Yeah.
because we wouldn't have been able to finish that either. But a lot of our reenactors didn't show up, and I think the main reason for that is because we were hoping they were going to show up without pay.
right.
Even though they did commit to saying, yeah, we're going to be there on that day, we're going to have a good time, we're going to film, blah, blah, blah. But we promised them food and a place to sleep and a place to hang out and do their reenacting and whatnot. But we didn't pay them, which is, I guess, the main reason why they probably didn't show up.
I remember actually you showed us that one. There was this video. What was the name of that guy that does those videos? The black guy with the glasses.
Darius Britt.
Gary Spritt.
Darius Britt.
Darius Britt. He's on YouTube, and he had this video that was like, it was like 4 or 5 things. There was this one video, he just listed out all these things not to do in a short film, and it's almost laughable. It's
How
almost
many
a
we've
joke,
done?
dude. How
We
many we
did.
did? He's literally like, don't shoot outside in the bright sunlight.
It was
like if you do
hot.
shoot outside, try and shoot in cloud cover so that you'll get some diffusion. We shot in like perfectly sunny, bright days.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use animals. Of course, we get horses. Try to pay your actors. Of course, we don't pay any of them.
Yeah, don't depend on people coming
Yeah,
and working
don't-
for free.
Exactly, which is exactly what we did. Don't try
Don't try to have your short film too talky.
and that's all it was.
It's always
It was
just
just no
dialogue.
motivation, no dialogue, dude.
Yeah.
No even character goals, no nothing. There's
Uh.
we tried to have a little punchline at the end. We just didn't know. It was like it was almost like a textbook, like what you can do wrong.
Yeah.
And we did every single one of them wrong, which is almost good.
But I mean,
It's
in
almost
turn,
like-
it's like we'd rather make those mistakes now rather than
Yeah.
going into, like, let's say, like a 30-minute to like a feature film, something like that, and like make those horrible, terrible mistakes and just fail even worse.
When there's more pressure, when we're using more money,
when
and
our
we have more people
reputation is
depending.
more on the line,
Exactly. So that was
what are some other stuff that we've learned?
Well, I mean, when you're making a film, it's all about how much control you give yourself. And one of the things we did, we just left a lot of factors out of our control. And of course, when you can't control things, it doesn't go the way you want. You don't get the same kind of thing you want. Like I said, we couldn't control whether or not some actors or some reenactors would show up or not, because we didn't have any money on the line for them.
Yeah.
Kind of just the way we went into it. We know it's going to be a low budget thing, but that's kind of the way it is. And so when you don't give yourself all that control, things kind of fall apart sometimes, and that's what happened to us. Yeah. I think the biggest mistake, I think if everything had gone right, if we had $1 million, or if we had every single reenacted everything, I think it still would have been unsatisfying, because I don't think we knew how to write a script. And honestly, we're still learning. Like, we're not professional script writers. It's a very hard thing. Writing a good script is a really hard thing to do, and I think we learned a lot of lessons in what we had. Like, we were kind of unsure about it, but we're still proud of it. We worked very hard with it. There was a lot of good things about it, but I think a lot to be desired still there too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anyone else have a comment on that? I think that was our biggest. It's all about your script. It's if you have a good script.
Also, we planned to shoot it in 2 days, and it's also important to note that we were trying to make a Civil War period piece during the 150th anniversary of like the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So all the Civil War reenactors that are in the South, which by the way, this is another interesting thing, is me and Mark and Luke and Axel sat down and spent probably several days calling and emailing literally like every reenactment group that we could find in like the southern United States, in every state that we could find. We would find like these forums or like these lists of all these different companies and divisions and things of reenactment groups. And we found their contact information. We sent them, and we got maybe responses back from maybe a quarter of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys have a lot of experience with legitimate Civil War films like Gettysburg and Gods and Generals and stuff like that.
In fact, you want to talk about Bushrod real quick?
Yeah, so...
well, okay, how about... this is about a week before we're about to shoot, and we're still kind of relying on all these reenactors to come and be part of our film, not knowing how many are going to show up. But we get a call from this guy. His name's William Moss. He goes by Bushrod. He's worked on a few Civil War films, actually more than a few. He's kind of, I would call him a guru of Civil War reenactments in films. He was an extra in Lincoln. He was a main part of Gods and Generals, which is a huge Civil War film that was filmed a while back. Epic. A huge epic. Anyway, he calls us up. He finds our thing on Facebook or somewhere, and he's like, listen, I have all this experience. I have all this equipment and these uniforms, props,
flags,
everything you could possibly have. And he wanted to be a part of it. So he shows up. He was one of the first people to show up on set the day before we start shooting. And we're really glad he did, because if he hadn't, we might not have gotten any filming done.
Oh, no.
He brought just about every flag or every uniform that was used in the film. He could have outfitted 40 people if he wanted to.
Main thing he brought was just support.
Support and knowledge.
Yeah. Exactly. He brought that support and knowledge, and he made us feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more professional. So he was able to be there on set. If we had a question, we'd go to Bushrod. Hey, Bushrod, how would this person wear this? What do you think about his costume right now? And he'd go over there, tweak it, fix it, make it look better, and oh, great.
From A to Z, he knew exactly how a Civil War battle should take place, or what actually happened. From exactly what people were wearing, to the buttons, to specific rifles.
He even had a few advice kind of quibs on how our tank crew, their faces wouldn't be war battle enough. They would just kind of be just kind of going through the motions. And he's like, no, in battle, they were scared, they were angry, they were very emotional. They weren't just kind of looking. When you guys are filming them, make sure that they look like that. Make sure they're not just kind of staring blankly. They have to act too, as much as they have to reenact. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, it was one of those things that was for probably all of us an experience of a lifetime, but it was just one of those things that we wish would have gone smooth. We just wish we knew. We just were naive. We didn't know. But what's interesting is that was 1 year ago. And since then, looking back, we've almost tried to catch up and make up for all this lost time. And now I feel I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I feel like I know 10 times what I knew then.
Right.
In terms of character development and storytelling and character, plot, all this stuff. I can watch a film and it's easier for me to pick up what's wrong with it.
Right.
Quicker than I used to be able to. Films like The Hobbit. or Fury or any of these films that we've gone on like crazy rants about.
And also, like, it's really easy to kind of compare yourselves against the greats. You know, like we've been watching Paul Thomas Anderson. We watched his first film, Cigarettes and Coffee. What's another short film that we watched?
like Bottle Rocket.
Bottle Rocket. You know, Wes Anderson's first short. And like just comparing yourself against those guys' first short film, it's like they did something smart. They had a limited budget, limited actors. They put everything they can control. So they had it situated in present day. You know, easy locations. And in comparing ourselves to them, we're like, we have this Civil War period piece, and we're deciding we want to do a battle with like blood squibs and intense dialogue and like and it's just insane how
it was too much.
It was too much, you know. Yeah. But it also kind of gives us confidence. It says like, okay, if we can do something on that grand of a scale, even if it kind of failed, you know, we can reel it back pretty hardcore and hopefully craft something a lot better.
Well, because then after that we went out and we did do a project where we felt very confident. We made a Doritos commercial for the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl. If you know about that, listening. Every year they have Doritos has a Crash the Super Bowl contest where you make a commercial for them and you know thousands are submitted and they pick one or two to get shown at the Super Bowl and you win $1 million. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Talk about that real quick.
Well, we went out and we tried to put into practice everything that we did wrong during a Civil War film and set it right and do everything right for this commercial. You know, just put all our knowledge and all of our experience, what limited it was, to the test. And so instead of doing a 20-minute short film, it's a 30-second commercial. A lot more manageable, a lot more easier chunk to bite off. I think that was the biggest thing. Someone else wanted.
Yeah, I think every shot was planned out, thought out, and we had ample time to film each section. So at the very beginning of our commercial, we have two explorers that are wandering, they're going through the desert. We have an ocean shot. They're walking near the ocean. Just huge, expansive,
beautiful
terrain.
Piece of cinematography, honestly.
Yeah. We did a good job.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, you guys can see, for those of you watching, listening, you can find that video that we made. It's called The Doritos Tree. I think it's still on the Crash the Super Bowl website, but it's also on the YouTube channel called TheGoodieRoom. It's all one word. Goodie is spelled G.
We'll add some links underneath.
Yeah, we'll have some. It's GOODIE room. And so, but basically, it's just a 30-second commercial. Whereas, like, another thing that we did wrong, which was mentioned briefly earlier, was on our Civil War film, we shot with like 3 or 4 cameras simultaneously to the point where we were so rushed with time. We filmed it in 2 days. 20-minute short film in 2 days. We couldn't even set up a tripod. Yeah. We didn't set up tripods. Like, that's insane. We just tried to stabilize the footage. Like, looking back, it's just face palm after face palm.
Yeah. We had a nice dolly system that we built, but we couldn't even use it because
we didn't have time to set it up.
15 minutes to set it up.
Yeah, in production, we went out to Home Depot and we built like a dolly. We built a cannon, air cannon, a blood squib,
a dummy,
a
life-size 6-foot tall dummy.
Yeah. And we didn't get to use a single one of these. No. But then when we went and made this Doritos commercial, like Axel said, we reeled it back to everything that we did wrong. We tried to correct, and so we just used one camera. We gave ourselves 4 days total for a 30-second commercial. Yeah. Before we'd given 2 days for a 20-minute film. So and we went to the Sierra Buttes and camped out and filmed for 2 days, and then like a week later, we drove for 10 hours all the way down to
the sand dunes.
Raleigh,
San Diego.
Right outside of Raleigh, California.
The
close to the border.
Imperial Dunes.
We were like in Mexico. It was like way down there.
And if you ever go down there, it looks like the Sierra,
the
Sahara.
Sahara.
Not Sierra.
We perhaps used 2 to 4 seconds of footage when we were down.
Yeah.
And we drove 10 hours to get 4
down
seconds.
There. Yeah. 10 hours back.
10 hours back.
20 hours combined just to get maybe 4 seconds of footage.
But I mean, we were down there for a good 4 or 5 hours filming, and we used maybe 4 or 5 seconds. You know, I mean, that's ideal, and
but that's
what it takes.
Yeah. Well, we're proud of it because that's kind of a testament to who, like, we are, like what we want to be. We want to show that, like, even though it was just like a stupid 30-second commercial for Doritos, like we took it very seriously.
Right. Yeah.
I think almost even more seriously because of the previous experience that we had with that movie.
I think it also gave us a lot of confidence too.
Yeah.
You know, after making that, we just it's like redeeming ourselves slightly. You know, after another Civil War story.
Well, we didn't win. You know.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, I think we can kind of step back and look at that 30-second commercial, that piece of work, and say that we did a pretty good job. You know, compared to most videos on that Doritos website, I think ours is pretty much up there. You know, the Doritos Corporation company might have their own views about what they're looking for, and maybe that's why ours didn't make it to the top 30. You know, there's a bunch of reasons why, but you know, I think taking that as a whole, I think we had a great idea. We went through, we locked it down, and we just went through production and finished it. You know? I mean, that's
and everything that we had in our minds. Like we sat down in the living room and we're like, we should do a Doritos commercial. And we talked about what the idea would be, and we wrote a script. It was like 1 page, obviously, and we filmed every single thing. Whereas we've cut out probably half the stuff that we actually filmed and wrote for our Civil War film.
Yeah.
right.
It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It was just stupid. We just had to cut it out. And then plus all the comments that we've been getting from people who have watched it have been, it seems like really sincere and genuine. They're like, yeah, man, it competes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was better than the one that even aired. And it's like, whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it makes us feel good, but like
Makes us feel good about it.
You guys let us know.
Yeah.
Watch it if you wanna.
If you want, you can let us know.
In the comment section down below.
But
What you think?
But it does. I mean, filmmaking's all about getting what's in your head to actually show up on the screen.
Right.
With the Civil War film, I don't think that was the case. We had this grand vision, and you look at what we have. It's not terrible. I don't think there was a lot to be proud of, but also, it didn't quite turn out. But with the Doritos commercial,
Yeah.
it seems like everything
Yeah.
we wrote down on the page, everything we talked about, discussed, we had in our minds actually came through.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. What you see in that Doritos commercial is what it looked like in our heads.
Yeah. Right.
Which I think is the biggest confidence we can take from it.
Right.
exactly.
Now it's applying that to our next project. Hopefully, you take it up a little bit. Probably
Be a
not.
little longer.
Yeah,
A little more ambitious.
a little more ambitious. Not as ambitious as a Civil War epic.
Right.
But, well,
Yeah, I mean, a little more
futures yet.
So
ambitious.
basically, we're just this small team of 4 guys trying to make good movies, and we're trying to see where it's going to take us.
Yeah. So I guess all that was really just about, what not to do.
Yeah.
Don't follow in our
Yeah.
footsteps. Or do. Maybe fuck up a little bit.
Yeah,
and
fuck
then,
up a lot. That's the
You know.
But there's some
That's what
mistakes
you
you
do.
have to make sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
better do it while you're young than
Exactly.
later, right?
better at least go out and try.
Yeah.
I can't feed my children because I can't make good movies.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think whatever our next project, but that goes the same. I think for any passion, that's the real key. It's passion. We need we have passion, and I think it comes through. But for anyone who has passion, even if it's not filmmaking, even if it's I don't know, interpretive dance, do it, and then fuck up real bad, and then do
Right.
it again.
yeah.
Well, that's another thing we're kind of going through right now.
Yeah.
Is we all basically have full-time jobs, and juggling our passion with a 40-hour work week, each of us, it's difficult. You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
whenever we have days off, we want to pursue our passion, but so tired from working all week, you don't want to do crap. You know,
And then on top of that, it's difficult to schedule all 4 of us together. We all have different days off, different times off. Some people work in the morning, some people work graveyard shifts, some people work swing, and it's hard to coordinate all of our schedules together, much less do it consistently.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's nice when we do, when we are able to get together, still, even now, Mark's, has to go to work later on, Axel's got to go to work later on, and it's we can't just have, a day to where we can go out and, film something, or pursue our passion, so it's at least we're trying to do this so we can kind of have, a minute together, and kind of...
I think the main thing is we're trying not to be stagnant. You know?
Exactly.
I think a lot of people get stagnant in their 40-hour work week. We work with a lot of guys that have a lot of passions.
Yeah.
One guy we work with, he loves brewing beer. That's what he wants to do. That's what he loves to do. But he's got to do it on his day off. And
Yeah.
it may not be to the point where he can make a living off of it, which is sad. Because you have this passion, but you're stuck doing a job that you kind of hate. And
Yeah.
probably talk about that too.
Yeah, and I don't know, what I'm kind of interested in is when you can kind of cross that threshold, when you
Right.
can actually kind of just say, you know what, fuck this, I'm leaving, and then
Right.
leave your job,
Yeah.
and then pursue
Yeah.
what you want to do
Yeah.
full time.
Right.
And sometimes, you read about professionals that do, whether they're professional musicians or authors, you read about sometimes where they just went, forget it, and they left.
Yeah.
And they were in like a low place, and they had almost no money, and they were scraping by, but they just pursued what they wanted to do.
But that's the thing is like you hear about the successful people, but
Yeah.
how many people do you hear about that? For every one person that's successful, that that quit their day job and went hardcore and pursued their passion and they made it. You hear about them, but
Well, the guys
for
that didn't
every
make it-
one person that makes it, maybe there's 10, 50, 100 people that don't make it. You don't
Right.
hear about those people.
For every
So
Bob
it's-
Dylan, there's 50 Llewyn Davises.
Yeah,
It's just scary,
Yeah.
and you have to have kind of courage to go after it. And
especially in our profession, like filmmaking,
Yeah.
is that you don't just go to college and then apply for jobs.
Right.
There's plenty of people. I think like probably more than half the people in the industry probably didn't even go to school for filmmaking.
Probably
They
not,
just-
dude.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, well, I think I told you guys there was this one guy a couple weeks ago when they were shooting that commercial at our job, and he was the key grip, and I was helping him take some stuff over to like the back of the house, and I was kind of talking to him, and he was probably like our age, maybe like 26 or so, a little older, and he was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "So how long have you been doing this?" He's like, "Oh, about a year." I was like, "Oh, cool. Did you go to like school or anything?" And he's like, "Nah, man." And he was kind of bagging school, and he's like, "What about you?" And I was like, "I just sort of graduated from school." And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." But then he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel bad because like I just sort of jumped into this because like my friend his brother or cousin or some shit like worked in the industry and sort of just got him a job like that, and he's been doing that for like a year. So it's like some people just kind of walk right in. Other people really have to kind of struggle and fight, but there's no point in really complaining about it. Like, oh, that's unfair. How come he get? That's what it is.
Yeah,
like
right.
we're where we are,
Right.
and we're trying to do what we can, and there's plenty of other people out there like us that are trying as hard as they can in their
Right.
free time
Right.
that are our age or older. There's probably 50-year-old dudes, Alan, like trying to just still make films,
Right.
trying to do what they can. So
Right.
yeah,
yeah.
I guess the main thing is like we're just honing our craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to write as much as we can. We're trying to read as much as we can, work on as many projects as we can, and just keep casting our net out there, and hopefully more doors will open up, and one of those doors leads to a larger opportunity.
Yeah.
It
just keeps kind of building and building and building.
Right.
So, oh, I'm sorry. Do you have to leave?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talking about that 40-hour work week, fellas. This is my Monday.
Now about that.
Back to work, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so real quick, signing off. My name is Luke.
Axel.
I'm Mark,
I'm Corey, and I like to party.
and
I like to
And,
party.
No, you don't.
and hopefully, I know maybe we've described ourselves a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we've ranted a little too much, but maybe that's who we are.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what this will be.
Things will probably definitely get a little bit smoother. This is our first podcast / video blog thing.
But if you're still listening to us, I want to thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
exactly.
Hopefully you tune into our next one. We'll probably do these once a week.
Yeah.
I think like every Thursday we'll try and record one and then upload it by
Mm-hmm.
the weekend. So hopefully we'll get a name for it. We
Yeah.
don't really have a name for the
We
podcast.
got some stuff.
But so far it's
sliding around.
live
Yeah.
from the Inner Sanctum. Is the name of our
Inner
house.
Sanctum.
Yeah.
And
Thursday afternoon,
yes, on February 19th,
2015.
2015. So, thank you all for listening.
Signing off.
Signing off.
Peace.
Like.